Hi, Voice Explainer here. Today I'm going to explain a movie named Let Me In. The year 1983 is shown when the movie started. Many police cars and an ambulance also comes on the scene. They were driving off a disfigured person to the hospital. The face of that man is not shown because it is not worth seeing. Only his actions are shown because he was not being controlled by someone observing his conditions. Police officers are unable to understand as what has happened with him. Detective put query before his but he cannot be tell anything. That man commits suicide while jumping through the room window when police officers is outside, and he is dead at the spot. Afterwards, flashback is shown of previous 2 weeks, where 12 years old child named Oscar is shown. Oscar used to live with his mother because his parents had separated. On the other side, a rude boy and his friends used to tease Oscar in a pet school. So this can the cause of Oscar's worry because he had many problems of his personal and social life. So he used to spend his leisure time while watching his neighbors throughout his binoculars. He sees a man named Hawking and 12 years old girl named Ellie comes to his neighboring apartment to stay. Oscar peeps through his door peephole and thinking that Ellie is of his age fellow. Oscar was releasing his anger after stabbing a knife into Audrey, observing him to do as such. Ellie asks while coming, "What is he doing?" Oscar replies, "Nothing." At the same time, Oscar tries to befriend her, but Ellie leaves saying they can never be friended. Then Hawking is observed who was seated in a lady's car, asking him. As the car comes to the halt, Hawking seizes the opportunity and kills the woman. Taking the dead body of that lady, he moves into the forest and extracts all blood from her body. Then he brings into his house. This blood is given to Ellie, taking it at home. Then Ellie and Oscar meets again. Ellie was interested in puzzles, so Oscar asked him to solve the puzzle cube. Then Ellie revealed to Oscar of her age, saying she is still 12 years old. Oscar is placed on it and leaves from there. After that, a man is noticed who is moving into his house. He observes Ellie sitting at a deserted place. Ellie kills him in a brutal way as he comes near. Then she sucks his blood after killing. Here it is revealed that Ellie is not a normal girl but a bloodsucker. Ellie survives after sucking the blood of people, so Hawking had brought that blood of Ellie at former night. When she does not get human blood, she becomes uncontrolled. Hawking leaves the house knowing that Ellie has killed by that man. Oscar is noticing everything but unable to get the point, and Hawking buries the dead body of that man near the ice rink. Meeting Ellie again, Oscar observes that Ellie has solved the puzzle cube with no difficulty. He is impressed seeing it. She also teaches to solve the puzzle cube. They become bosom friends with the passage of time. They had developed a closeness and affectionate feeling for each other. Knowing about the closeness of both, Hawking asks Ellie to keep herself away from Oscar. At school, the same rude boy hits Oscar, leaving scratch on his face. Ellie asks about Oscar's face wound at night. Then Oscar reveals about that rude boy as he has hit and he is habitual to do it. Hearing it, Ellie encourages him, saying a man should defend himself rather than to be beaten. Oscar says fearfully he will be beaten more if he takes the same step back. Then Ellie assures him she will surely come when her help will be required for him, because she cannot imagine the power of Ellie. Next day, Oscar joins Jim. The rude boy and his group advance towards Oscar to beat him when all school kids are going for ice skating, but Oscar confronts them at this time rather than to be afraid, and he beats that boy with a rod which injures his ear. Teacher and kids discover the dead body of that person under the ice who was killed by Ellie, and Hawking are buried him. Other kids are frightened seeing it. Police officers also arrive there. Principal talks to suspend Oscar, but later he is forsaken. Oscar is happy because he had preferred to fight bravely than to be afraid. Oscar also mentions it with Ellie. Hawking leaves to hunt another person. He sits in a car of a boy because in action on his part, boy's other friend accompanying him in the car. Hawking is worried there, thinking how he should kill both of them. Then a car stops at a gas station. One of the boys between them goes to the store for shopping. Hawking attacks the other boy because he is written, and he is caught side by the people when he moves to the front seat for driving. The people begin to run after him. Hawking drives car speedily to escape. As a result, his car is scratched with another car and it is turned upside down. This accident hurts Hawking. The boy are coming at the front to catch him. Then Hawking discards him face, throwing acid on his face so no one can identify him. Consequently, his face was scorched. He was not being recognized because burnt face. He is brought to hospital. Here it is revealed that shown disfigured person at the start of the movie. He was not another person but Hawking. Hawking's face was seeming distorted because he had burnt his face with acid. Knowing about it, Ellie was moved to that hospital. A nurse tells him at reception that Hawking is in the custody of police, so you cannot meet him. Hearing it, Ellie does not utter a word and leaves from there. Climbing up the window of hospital, she reaches the room window. Hawking also comes to there to meet her. He represents himself for Ellie so she may suck his blood, because Ellie had an intense need to blood. Meanwhile, Hawking falls from the hospital building. Detective finds his dead body while coming there. Ellie is also standing there, but it is overlooked by the police. Ellie was depressed and she knocks Oscar's room window coming there. Oscar calls her inside and asks her to be close friend of him. Ellie accepts it happily. Then she tells, "I am not a girl," but Oscar ignores it. Police officers visits Ellie's house for investigation because they were suspecting Hawking's suicide. Police suspects Ellie because she had left this hospital without saying anything. When she visits the hospital, Oscar takes Ellie at the secret place about which no one was aware. Then Oscar hurts his finger in order to make a blood relation with Ellie. He also asks Ellie to do same. Being a bloodsucker, Ellie loses his control seeing Oscar's blood. Her reality is exposed before Oscar. She runs from there to avoid any harm to Oscar. She encounters a couple who reside there, and in that couple she attacks a lady biting her. Oscar was observing the whole situation and he had come to know the reality of Ellie as she is vampire, not a normal being. Oscar calls his father who doesn't talk to him much. Oscar was not prepared to accept the reality of Ellie, so he is dejected. Because she was in love with Ellie, he goes to meet Ellie, who reveals her reality. As she is vampire who needs to the blood of alive human of her survival, she can lose her control, not finding the blood. She says she had to do it to fulfill his needs, otherwise she does not want to harm anyone. Oscar asks Ellie, "From which year have you been 12 years old?" Ellie says, "I have been 12 years old for many years." It means she doesn't grow. Then Oscar notices a photo on the table. There was another boy with Ellie in the photo. Seeing that photo, Oscar becomes envious and he leaves angrily, and lady who was bitten by Ellie was behaving mysteriously because she had also turned into a bloodsucker and biting herself. In the morning, vampire cannot bear the sunlight, so that lady burns receiving the sunlight as the nurse opens the door, and that nurse also dies along with her. While burning, detective are left astonished observing it. Oscar checks as his house doorbell rings. There was Ellie. He says to Oscar, ask her to come inside. But Oscar asks him to come inside without permission. As a result, Ellie is wounded to bleed. Immediately, Oscar permits her to come inside and Ellie restores her normal condition. Here, a reality of vampire exposed as they cannot enter the house of anyone without permission. Then they hug each other. Now their affectionate feelings are more developed. A police officer was keeping an eye on Ellie because statements about Ellie were same told by nurse and that lady's husband. So they were putting blame on Ellie's for all. Oscar is also at Ellie's house when police officers come to arrest Ellie. As police officer goes to near the bathtub, Ellie bites him while attacking. Oscar is also noticing everything. Those police officers ask help from Oscar, but he does not favoring Ellie. Oscar shuts the door and police officer is dead at that place. Then they both hide that police officer in that secret place. The other police officers were nearly to come there because of that police officer's death, so Ellie had to go, leaving Oscar behind. Oscar is dejected because he was madly in love with Ellie. That rude boy and his friend come to take revenge from Oscar during the swim class. As the class starts, they send the teacher outside while telling a lie, and they lock the door from inside as the teacher leaves. They tease Oscar too much while other kids from the swimming pool are sent. Terrorizing Oscar, he says to him he will have to stay underwater for 3 minutes while holding his breath. He will pull out one of his eyes if he is unable to do so. Oscar remains submerged underwater for a while, but eventually his conditions start to get worse. Ellie arrives at the scene and violently kills three of them. Oscar's condition is worst when he comes outside from the water. Relying on the sincerity of Ellie, Oscar is ready to go with her, leaving everything. While traveling in the train, there is a big box before him where Ellie was locked because vampire cannot sustain in the sunlight, and they live to start a new life. It is also revealed here he has Hawking in the photo with Ellie, which Oscar had noticed going to Ellie's house because Ellie does not grow, so remained 12 years old for many years while Hawking had grown too old. Because Hawking was dead, Oscar had become the need for her survival. So she becomes his friend and they fall in love with each other. So they were beloved. Ellie could transform Oscar into a wild fighting so that they may live together forever. And the movie ends here. Thank you for watching.